So this is in furtherance with explanation or instructions of Lord Kapila to Mother Devahuti on the science of devotional service. Last many verses actually is explaining about the Ashtanga Yoga, and we understood that Ashtanga Yoga system is also a process culminating in devotional service. And here we have been hearing from Kapila Muni the process of Ashtanga Yoga, where the different stages of this system of yoga was very nicely, briefly explained by Kapila Muni. He spoke about the various process of controlling the mind, yama, niyama, and various asanas, and the pranayama he explained. And in the previous verse, he explains that when finally the mind is purified, perfectly purified, then one should practice this yoga in which one should concentrate on the tip of the nose with the half closed eyes. So this is all possible when one's mind is first of all fully purified and fully controlled, and then focus on the tip of the nose with half closed eyes. And what is he supposed to do? Go to sleep? No. He is supposed to see the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in the Kali Yuga, although we may try to do this, many people come with different versions of meditation. I remember when I was in college, some of my friends took to some meditation center, and something similar. We were asked to sit down and meditate, close the eyes, but we were not asked to see the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we will start with something like this, but we will be misdirected. And we were asked to close the eyes, and we know what will happen immediately after closing the eyes. And it exactly happened. In fact, some of my friends actually slept off and started snoring also. So it was very amusing. So, but the process, what is recommended by Kapila Muni, is not an unauthorized process. It is a recommended process. It is an authorized process. Gradually, how one elevates one's consciousness through the system recommended by Kapila Muni is not an imaginary explanation. It is an authorized process. That is what also Prabhupada in this purport, he is emphasizing the authenticity of what is being explained by Kapila Muni. It has a reference. Lord Kapila himself is a incarnation of God. That itself is a pramana. But still, there are many other scriptures which Prabhupada refers, like Brahma Samhita and Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, in many other places. The process of meditating on the Lord is narrated and explained. And here in this verse, Kapila Muni says, Prasanna Vadhanam Bhojam Padma Garbha Arunekshanam Nilotpala Dhalashamam Shankachakra Gadadharam. So he is explaining the attribute of the form which he is recommending to meditate on. As in the previous verse, it is mentioned that one has to see the personality of Godhead. When you see the personality of Godhead, exactly how do you identify that personality of Godhead? So what is the reference? What is the identification? What are his attributes? When you meditate, at least in the age of Kali, we don't have that natural trained way to see the form of the Lord. Form of the Lord doesn't immediately come to our mind. What comes to our mind in our conditioned state is the illusory experiences of this world. So we land in desire to see the Lord, but did we really see the Lord? So if you have seen the Lord, what are his attributes? That is explained here in this verse, that Prasanna Vadanam Bhojam, his face is prasanna, is very cheerful, and it is representing lotus-like countenance with ruddy eyes like the interior of the lotus. Very nicely, with an example, Kapila Muni is explaining the feature of the Lord, attributes of the Lord, because we don't know. We are in this material world. We haven't seen the Lord. If someone has to narrate the description of the Lord, it has to be in terms of what we have an experience within this material world to correlate with the feature and attributes of the Lord. So in this creation, lotus is considered to be the very beautiful object. So Lord's features are compared with the lotus. His face is compared to the lotus. His eyes are compared to the lotus here. And even his bodily color is also compared to the petals of a blue lotus. Nilotpala Dhala Shamam. And he bears a conch, discus, mace in his hands. So, with this we can identify this is the personality of Godhead on whom I should meditate and whom am I supposed to see in the process of my meditation. So, that means that although in the previous verse it is recommended that one should focus on the tip of the nose, concentrate on the tip of the nose with the half eyes closed, that is not the end process of the yoga. That is only to mend, to control the mind from the external disturbances and practice concentration of the mind. And once the concentration of the mind is attained, one is actually supposed to A yogi is supposed to form a form of the Lord in one's mind and meditate on the mind. Meditate on that form that is formed in the mind. What kind of form? That is explained here with these attributes. And Prabhupada further says that in this purport, these forms are the Vishnu forms. So there is no confusion. And Prabhupada says there are 12 different forms of Vishnu which are described in teachings of Lord Chaitanya. These 12 forms are the Vishnu Murtis or the Vaikuntha forms of the Lord. And in the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, he actually explains 24 different forms of Lord Vishnu. The 4 primary forms are the principal quadruple forms of Krishna, which are actually known as Prabhava forms or the 4-handed forms. And they further expand in 12 Vaikuntha forms, which begins from Keshava, Narayana, Madhava, Madhusudana, Trivikrama, Madhusudana, and like that, the 12 forms, as per the Vaishnava philosophy, each month is represented by these 12 Vaikuntha forms, which begins from Keshava. The month of November and December is represented by the Keshava Murti, and then Narayana next month, and like that every month is represented by one of these 12 Vaikuntha forms. And that's how the month is calculated like. And it is said here, one should meditate on this Vishnu form, which is not an imaginary form. And because one cannot see the Lord personally in this material world, we can see only matter. So one may think that how to see the form, how the form that is recommended here, how exactly it can be a form. How to see exactly, because we can't see the Lord in the heart initially. So a yogi is recommended first of all to form a form in the mind and meditate on that form. And that form is again not an imaginary form. Because in the process of worship, because we are conditioned, we cannot see anything beyond the matter. We cannot see a spirit. So in the process of worship and meditation, one can form a form made of either of a stone, of a mud, of a jewel, or even a form made out of a mind. Because mind is also matter. Mind is a subtle matter. Gross or subtle, both are actually matter. So just like one can make a gross form, one can make a form of the Lord out of the subtle mind also. And based on the description which is given in the scriptures, not an imaginary form. So one has to like this meditate on this form. And in Nectar of Devotion also, this process of worshipping the Lord in the mind is also narrated. It is also a bona fide process. One can worship the Lord in the mind also. No, there is a description where a Brahmana who hears a discourse on worshipping the Lord, how the Lord is bathed, how he is dressed, how he is made seated on an asana, on a throne, and he is cooked bhoga and he is offered. So when he hears this in the discourse, he also meditates the similar process in the mind. And he also makes the Lord sit on the throne, worships him, offers him nice clothing, cooks for the Lord. And once the food is cooked, he actually cooks sweet rice in his mind. And after he cooks the sweet rice, because generally sweet rice is offered cold, it is not offered hot. It is consumed cold. When it is cold, the flavor of the sweet rice enhances. The taste of the sweet rice enhances. So the Brahmana is putting his finger in the sweet rice bowl and he is checking whether it is cold, but it is still hot. When it is hot, it burns his finger, and immediately he wakes up from his meditation and he actually sees that his finger is burnt. So that is the process. The Lord accepts the worship of a devotee even when the worship is conducted at the mind level, because mind is also a matter. And a form made out of the mind, which is as per the description, is also bona fide, is also authorized process. But that doesn't mean that we take up to the process of worshipping the Lord only in the mind. Then why did we build the temple? Then why the Lord manifested in the form of the Archa Vigraha? Or someone may say that, okay, Lord accepts the worship in the mind, so I will do everything, all my sevas in the mind only. And everything gross is actually for my enjoyment. No, if you ask a donation for someone for the temple, no, I will give donation in the mind, because worshipping the mind is agreed, is acceptable. Lord is actually wanting to see that how much we are eager to. He is a bhavagrahi Janardana. He is actually wanting to see how much we are ready to give up that which is very attractive to us. What we feel in my possession as mine, are we ready to hand over to the Lord? Are we ready to sacrifice it to the Lord? Lord is wanting to actually see that bhava in us. So, but still, if someone doesn't have a facility to do that, Lord also understands the bhava of such kind of devotee also, where he worships the Lord in the mind. So, Lord is interested in our bhava. Lord is not interested in a bhavana where I have decided everything to enjoy grossly within my possession for myself, and for the Lord, when it comes to serving the Lord, I will serve in the mind. So that is not the correct understanding. So that is how Kapila Muni is mentioning here, that one should meditate on the form of the Lord. Further in the purport, Prabhupada says that this cheerfulness of the Lord, because the quality of the Lord, the attributes of the Lord being cheerful, Lord is cheerful in any condition. Whether he is fighting, whether he is crying, whether he is being parented by his devotees, in all conditions he is cheerful. But Prabhupada says in this purport that it is an unfortunate thing that some people won't be able to understand the attributes of the Lord. Like the impersonalists here, for example, they can't understand the attributes of the form of the Lord, because they are always accustomed to meditate on the impersonal feature of the Lord. They are always accustomed to meditate on the formless feature of the Lord. And they will never able to understand the form of the Lord, and they will never be able to therefore understand even the features, the attractive features of the Lord. Bhagavad Gita further explains that there are three categories of people who can't understand the features of the Lord, the attributes of the Lord. The gross materialists, they won't be able to understand the form of the Lord. They can't understand Lord being in his original form. And the impersonalists or the jnanis, they also cannot understand the form of the Lord. And the voidists, they also can't understand the form of the Lord. This is because a gross materialist, because he is totally absorbed in the matter, he doesn't know anything beyond the matter. Dehatma buddhi. For him, matter is everything. And because he is so much absorbed in the thoughts of matter, he cannot understand the form of the Lord. For him, God means that which is opposite to matter. God means that which is negative to matter. He can't understand Lord as a spirit, and still he can have a form. Matter means it has a form, and God, for them who are grossly absorbed in material enjoyment or the materialist, for them God means that which is opposed to matter. Matter means form, and which is opposed to matter means formless. So Lord is formless for them. So they can't understand that God has a form and he is a spiritual person. And the jnanis or the impersonalists, they also can't understand Lord having a form. This is because they are so much frustrated in the pursuits of material enjoyment that Prabhupada gives an example of the jackal or a wolf, which is wanting to experience or want to taste the grapes. No? All grapes are sour. It is said like that, no? The grapes are sour. The jackal is trying its best, taking all risk to taste the grapes, but out of so much of efforts, it is finally frustrated and comes to a conclusion, okay, grapes ye sour hai, khatta hai. Why to taste this? Similarly, the impersonalists, they are so much frustrated in the process of enjoyment, enjoying the matter, and out of that frustration, they come to a conclusion that no, Lord is formless. And because of their experience of miserable experiences, their fear of experiencing the bitterness in the pursuits of material enjoyment and the material relationships, they come to conclusion that no, there is no form. There is no form. Prabhupada gives an example of someone who is accustomed to always eat sweet rice with stone, with pebbles. Whenever you give sweet rice to a person, if always there is a pebbles in that, he will not have an understanding of what is sweet rice without pebbles. So, next time when you give him a sweet rice, he'll be very fearful. And he will say that I don't want sweet rice. There is no sweet rice at all. So, like this, the impersonalists, they also, because of continuous frustration in the pursuits of the material enjoyment, and because of the fearfulness in the bitter experiences or the miserable experiences in the pursuit of material enjoyment, they come to conclude that form, material matter is limited. It is formless. And the voidists, they also come to an understanding. They also can't understand the form of the Lord because there are so many different concepts of absolute truth about the God. Someone says that God is impersonal, someone says that God is dead, someone says that God doesn't exist, someone says that everyone is God, you are God, I am God, everyone is God. And because of so many different varieties of theories, they are so much confused and bewildered, they come to a conclusion that nothing is existence. Everything is void. So they also don't have an access to the form of the Lord, understanding that Lord has a form. And further, Prabhupada explains specifically the impersonalists. They misinterpret even the real teachings of Bhagavad Gita to suit their definition of formlessness of the absolute truth. Because in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna was asked by Arjuna, which is the topmost, which is the best mode of meditation. Who is the best yogi? Someone who is meditating on the form of the Lord, or someone who is not meditating on the form of the Lord, someone who is meditating on the impersonal feature of the Lord, or someone who is meditating on the personal feature of the Lord. Who is best among the two? Krishna, although very clearly he says that the process of worshipping the Lord through his personal feature is the best process, not only best process, but also it is the most easy process of worshipping the Lord. On the contrary, the worship of the Lord through his impersonal feature is very difficult process. Prabhupada also says in this purport that meditating on something impersonal or void features is very troublesome to the meditator. But the impersonalists, they misinterpret, saying that because Krishna has said that meditating on the form is the easiest process, so let us meditate on the form of the Lord and gradually come to the stage of meditating on the impersonal feature of the Lord, and not directly jump on the formless, meditating on the formlessness of the Lord. One should accustom oneself to meditate, first of all, by meditating on the form and gradually come to the stage of formlessness. This is the misinterpretation of the impersonalist to suit their understanding. And that's why the worship of Pancha Upasana is given by the impersonalists. Impersonalists, Mayavadis, they worship the form of the Lord, but their mood is that ultimately one should come to the stage of impersonal worship, impersonal feature of the Lord. And for that, now we are taking the support of the form of the Lord, because it is easy to meditate on the form of the Lord. Because Krishna is saying, meditate on the form of the Lord is easy. So let us not directly jump to the meditating on the impersonal feature, which is difficult for us now, because we are not accustomed to meditate. Let us meditate, let us take up the easier process of meditating on the form of the Lord through the Panchopasana process, and then gradually shift our focus on impersonal feature. This is the misinterpretation of the Mayavada philosophers, which is not appreciated or upheld by the conclusions of Bhagavata philosophy. And further, Prabhupada in his purport says that many people ask about the color of the Lord. People always ask why Krishna is blue in color. So, Krishna's bodily complexion and its color, it is blue in color, is not an imaginary poetic explanation. Prabhupada says in his purport, the color of the Lord has not been imagined by an artist. An artist, when he makes a painting, he imagines. When he draws a painting, he imagines. When he paints the nature, he imagines and gives his imagination on his paintings. But the color of the Lord has not been imagined by an artist. It is described in authoritative scripture. In Brahma Samhita, also the color of the Krishna's body is compared to that of bluish cloud, Megha Shama. So it is not an artificial imagination. But if you ask some people that why the Lord's color is blue, they say because God is unlimited and sky is unlimited. The color of the sky is blue. So the Lord's bodily color is also blue. And ocean is bluish in color. Ocean is also unlimited. Lord is also unlimited. So Lord's body is bluish in color. This is called imaginary explanation about the attributes of the Lord. Chaitanya Charitamrita, this imaginary explanation of the Lord is actually condemned by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which is known as Gauna Vritti. Gauna Vritti means giving an imaginary explanation of something. Something actually really exists, but you give a false or imaginary explanation of that. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was asked by Prakashananda Saraswati, the leader of the Mayavadi sannyasis, that why are you not reading the Vedanta? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that I am not reading Vedanta because the Vedanta philosophy given by Shankaracharya is a Gauna Vritti. It is an imaginary explanation. And anyone who reads the imaginary explanation and narrations, his spiritual life will be doomed. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, when he gives teachings to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri, so he was asked, have you understood my nice explanations? 7 continuous days he explains his Bhashya to Vedanta Bhashya to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, your explanation is like a cloud on the sky, which is covering the sky. Vedanta I understand, but I don't understand your version of Vedanta, because your version of Vedanta is like cloud which is covering the sky. Vedanta is like a sky. And sometimes sun covers the cloud, the cloud covers the sun. And your explanation is like that. The sun is covered by the cloud. So, like that, people give imaginary explanation about the attributes of the Lord. In one of the purports, in the same explanation, Prabhupada says that sometimes a politician gives a Gauna explanation, a Gauna Vritti explanation about what is Kurukshetra. What is Kurukshetra? Who are Pandavas? What is Mahabharata? No. The real dictionary meaning of Kurukshetra is a place. No, Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakura says, any explanation which is not in confirmation with the Vedic philosophy is a Gauna Vritti, is a Gauna explanation. And the Mukhya Vritti is a real explanation which is as per the Vedic conclusions. So Kurukshetra is a dharmika place, Dharma Kshetra. But sometimes some people, they give a false imaginary explanation of Kurukshetra, saying that Kurukshetra is a body, Pandavas are the 5 senses, and Mahabharata, then nothing exists like Mahabharata. Mahabharata is actually a battle within ourselves, within the senses, there is a good and evil within ourselves, there is a fight between good and evil. So this is all is nothing but Gauna Vritti, an imaginary explanation of the Lord. So this kind of imaginary explanations, if someone resorts to, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, one's spiritual life will be hampered, will be doomed. So that is what we hear directly from Kapila Muni, that what is the feature of the Lord? Nilotpala Dhala Shama. He is explaining the bodily complexion of Lord Kapila is bluish in complexion. And many other Vedic literatures also explain. And he carries 4 symbols, conch shell, discus, mace and lotus. All these are described in Vedic scriptures. And Brahma Samhita, it is explained, Brahma is the first living entity who has seen the Lord Krishna personally face to face, and he is describing his features in his prayers. So these are the Mukhya Vritti, or the real explanations about the attributes of the personality of Godhead. But the Mayavadis, or the impersonalists, or the gross materialists, or the voidists can't understand these features of the Lord. And that's what we can understand here from this purport, from this verse, very nice verse, which is describing various attributes of the Lord on whom a yogi is supposed to meditate upon. We'll stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Vishwa Guru Srila Prabhupada.